The year was 1483. Two young boys, heirs to the English throne, entered the Tower of London and were never seen again. This is the story of the Princess in the Tower, one of history's most chilling mysteries, with a prime suspect as its center, their uncle, Richard III. The princes were Edward V, just 12 years old, and his younger brother, Richard, the Duke of York, aged 9. Their father, King Edward IV, had died unexpectedly, leaving young Edward as his successor. But the throne of England was far from secure. Their uncle, Richard, the Duke of Gloucester, was named Lord Protector. At first, he appeared to be safeguarding the young king, but soon he seized the crown for himself, declaring Edward V and his brother illegitimate. On July 6, 1483, Richard III was crowned King of England. The princes, meanwhile, were conveyed to the Tower of London, and they vanished. The evidence suggests this was no coincidence. What happened to the princes? Their fate has puzzled historians for over 5 centuries, but one theory stands out as the most compelling: murder at the hands of Richard III. As king, Richard III stood to gain the most from their disappearance. Chronicles like Sir Thomas More painted a damning picture. Richard ordered assassins to smother the boys in their sleep, ensuring they could never challenge his rule. Rumors of the boys' death were in circulation by late 1483, but Richard never attempted to prove that they were alive by having them seen in public, which strongly suggests that they were dead by then. While some argued there's no definitive proof of his guilt, Richard's actions speak volumes. He declared the princess illegitimate, claimed the throne, and kept the boys locked away in the tower. Is it truly a stretch to believe he ordered their deaths to secure his reign? Dominic Mancini, an Italian friar who visited England in the 1480s and who was in London in the spring and summer of 1483, recorded that after Richard III seized the throne, Edward and his younger brother Richard were taken into the inner apartments of the tower and then were seen less and less until they disappeared altogether. Mancini records that during this period, Edward was regularly visited by a doctor who reported that Edward, like a victim prepared for sacrifice, sought remission of his sins by daily confession and penance because he believed that death was facing him. Some suggest Henry Tudor, later Henry VII, was responsible for their death after defeating Richard III, but this story lacks evidence. By the time Henry rose to power, the princes had already vanished. The timeline doesn't fit at all. Could Henry have been involved? Perhaps, but the immediate beneficiary of their disappearance was undeniably Richard III. Other theories suggest the prince escaped, pointing to figures like Perkin Warbeck, who claimed to be the younger prince, Richard. But however, these claims were never substantiated, and it's far more likely the boys met a grim fate in the tower. Richard's enemies may have exaggerated his cruelty, but even his most ardent defenders struggled to explain the prince's fate under his watch. In 1674, workers at the Tower of London unearthed bones believed to belong to the princess. Modern forensic analysis could confirm their identity, but so far the evidence aligns with the grim theory that Richard III ordered their death to cement his hold on the throne. While the truth remained elusive, the available evidence, combined with Richard's ruthless rise to power, points directly to him as the likely culprit. The story of the Princess in the Tower remains one of the history's darkest chapters. Richard III's ambition may have secured him at the crown, but at what cost? The shadow of his alleged crime looms over his legacy to this day. The truth may be buried with the princess, but the case against Richard III is compelling. Were the victims of his ambition, or is history unfairly blaming him? Share your thoughts below.